Hi, good morning. Just imagine you are sitting with your children in a park having KFC, and your child throws the bone on the side and it is picked up by a poor kid. He doesn't know whether he's a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian, but he picks it up and he eats it. Why? Because he's hungry. Imagine you are sitting in your house looking outside the window and enjoying the rain, watching on the screen while a city is being flooded. Imagine you have set up a business and that business is not doing well. Reasons for it could be environmental, could be economical. Imagine your father, who is a senior citizen, goes for a job and is denied a job just because he's a senior citizen. Imagine if you had come from a community called LGBTQ and you were denied access to a certain place. And that is the reason the United Nations came out with the Sustainable Development Goals. The goals were a vision which were created beyond millennial goals that the United Nations were already operating on. The reasons I just said: poverty, hunger, not proper health, not being inclusive, not being gender sensitive. Today, I want all of you sitting here not to sit and hear me as an Indian or from a particular religion or from a particular caste or creed. You are all global citizens. I want you to sit here and think as global citizens. I want you all to take two sides today, the reason for which I will tell you. A, the side one is going to be a global citizen of a developed nation. The second side is a global citizen of a less developed nation or an underdeveloped nation. The reason why I'm telling you is for you to understand the UN SDGs, the importance of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. When I go to a lot of places to speak to people in MSME forums, in colleges, in schools, in entrepreneurs meet, the first thing I ask is, how many of you are aware of UN SDGs? Hardly any hands up. Hardly, trust me. I'm very sure that today, with the speakers who have come before me, you all have learned a lot about UN SDGs. But prior to this, or maybe a month earlier, there would still have been a few people who wouldn't have known what SDGs are. It's not just a vision, it's not just a statement, and it's not unrealistic. If you look up the internet today and read about SDGs, many criticize it. Many say that, oh, it's a vision for 15 years, something which I have to talk in 15 minutes. We have crossed 10 years and yet we are not there. When I say we are not there, I am talking about so many goals that countries have to achieve. And why do they have to achieve? Because they want zero poverty, because they want zero hunger. They want to educate all. They want to have good, sustainable businesses. They want to have good social development. They want to have inclusivity, which is equal opportunity and equal access for all. Have you all realized? That's why I said, wear different hats, trade sides today. There are so many countries in the world which don't talk about inclusivity. There are so many countries in the world which still have not recognized LGBTQ, AI. How are the goals going to be achieved? And why is United Nations asking these goals to be achieved? Because it's not for them. It's for you. It's for us. It's for the people of the world. It's not just one country. We don't need, you might think, or many people may think, oh, my country is developed. I have roads, I have water, I have sanitation, I have good education. Why do I need to bother? Look at each one of them. They are all interconnected. Why are they interconnected? Because it is for us. It is for us to create a world which we all can live in. To create a world where there is accessibility to the resources that we need to live. If I talk about countries who have implemented most of these goals, I would still tell you that there is not more than a 30 to 35% penetration or implementation of most of these goals, even if you take the developed countries. But countries are there, countries like Singapore, Hong Kong, America, most countries in Europe have most of these goals running in frame, running in line. But what about countries in Africa? There are more than 50 countries. Africa is not just Africa. You would have heard about a country called Nigeria in Africa, but do you know there is a country called Niger in Africa? You know there's a country called Burundi in Africa. Africa is not just about South Africa. There's Sudan, South Sudan, Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. What about countries in Latin America? What is happening to them? Have we ever thought? What about the hunger there? Most of us see a picture when we talk of hunger. We look at a video or a picture comes in our mind that a small kid in Somalia is standing, barely wearing anything and having a few morsels of food. Trust me, we are in a very good environment. We could have been in a worse place. The governments are doing enough. The 195 countries today in the United Nations have come together, not for themselves, but for all of us. But what is happening in most countries? The challenge is that we people, when I say we people, we are talking about, thank you, we are talking about citizens who are ignorant. I'll not talk about garbage, I will not talk about traffic, but I will talk about more essential things that we require to build a sustainable and a resilient world for us. Well, you all must be thinking that there is, fine, the goals have been placed. It's up to the governments to achieve the goals. What have we got to do in it? Sorry, stop here. Change your mindset. It is we people who have to go goal by goal. And you know, while I was pondering over why we have not been able to achieve great success, when I say we, I'm again saying global citizens. We are looking at, on an average about 17% of most of these goals being achieved, and in some cases lesser than that. I realized that the knowledge penetration of these 17 goals is very less. Trust me, I have my back to the screen. If you brought up the 17 goals again, the screen, I would not remember more than 9 or 10 of them. So that also shows that even though I propagate sustainability, I propagate fulfillment of these goals, we are running ahead against time, I still feel that most of us have lots to do. We spoke of success of big countries in implementing these goals. I represent a country which is very small. I represent a country called Republic of Palau with a population of just 21,000 people, but on the brink of being extinct. 2 feet of rise in water floods our roads. There is constant rain. There's so much of rain around our islands, but we are not able to collect enough of water to drink. Those lands are not ideal for 100% cultivation. Those are the basics: food, shelter, clothing. Even then, the governments of these small countries like Palau, Tuvalu, Tonga, these are names that you all wouldn't have even heard. There are countries like Solomon Island, Cook Island, Marshall Island, Tuvalu, Tonga, Samoa, Niue, Federated States of Micronesia, Papua New Guinea, Fiji. These countries are taking lead, you know. Palau is one of the first countries in the world to ban sunscreen in its waters. Palau is probably the only country in the world to issue a visa in a form of a pledge, wherein there is a stamp on your passport where you say that when I am on the island, I am not going to pollute the island, I am not going to use plastic, and I am going to retain the island and leave so that the people of the island can live sustainably. Such small countries are doing so much, then why not we? So when I was thinking, I came up with these thoughts that first of all, the accountability is the biggest factor. Who is accountable? It's not just the government who is accountable. It is we people. From today, we need to take accountability of fulfilling these sustainable goals. It doesn't cost you at all. If you think that, oh, because this is from a world organization, there could be a lot of money involved. Believe me, as a citizen, it doesn't cost you at all. It's only the will. And I want to ignite this and reignite this will today. Like I said, accountability. Then I want to draw your attention to businesses. Because in my opinion, the businesses or the companies are the ones who need to assist the government in fulfilling these sustainable development goals. When I say assist the government, you don't need to go and tell the government that, okay, tell us what we can do. It's a DIY, do it yourself. Have green buildings, have proper offices, ventilated offices, don't use much of garbage or recycle whatever you're using. That's another point where NGOs, non-governmental organizations, play a very important role. Recycle, reuse, reduce, stationery reduced, power reduced, energy reduced, less water consumption, use methods in toilets where water consumption is lesser. There's one area which irritates me most when it comes to food and when we talk of hunger. And that is the buffet breakfast in a 5-star hotel. All of you enjoy the buffet breakfast in 5-star hotels? But you know, if we work on statistics, the amount of food you eat is equivalent to the amount of food that is wasted that morning. Imagine if that much amount of food was sent out to the people who have gone hungry. It would have filled so many stomachs. In turn, it would have helped them improve their health. Zero food in the stomach is like running a car without air and fuel. Wouldn't that help us achieve one of the Sustainable Development Goals? It would. Why nobody objects to this? Whenever I go to a hotel and I stay there, I have a choice to make without breakfast. And I pick that up. But I still go down for breakfast. And I order separately. Why? I order only how much I want to eat. One guru told me, I was sitting with him, and they served water. So the glass was this big, he had this much of water. While they were pouring the water, he said, stop. And in my glass, the whole bottle was poured. He says, you know, why did I stop? I said, no. He said, my thirst was only this much. If the rest of the water was poured in my glass, it would go down the drain. That much of water would have been enough for a camel to sustain for a couple of days. So you see, when you do these small things, they create so much of an impact. I talk of awareness. This is where it has to start. Awareness has to start from schools. Awareness has to start from colleges. And I'm glad that where I stand, it's a platform of awareness. If you go back to these goals, there's only one common factor that I see in all this. And that common factor is education, SDG number 4. Education is the basis for fulfillment of all these goals. If you have education, if you have knowledge, you will understand equality, you will understand gender, you will understand how to equally distribute resources, you will understand how to build resilient buildings, how to build resilient infrastructure, and you will understand how to live in coexistence. Partnership is again an important factor for me. So again, global citizens, the ones who are sitting with a hat of developed countries and the ones who are sitting with a hat of not so developed countries, I would call them LDCs, least developed countries, or SIDS, small island development states. Partnerships are very important. The bigger countries have to support the smaller countries. Likewise, the bigger companies have to support the smaller companies. The bigger schools have to support smaller schools. The universities have to support colleges. That's partnership. And support for what? On how to achieve these sustainable development goals. These sustainable development goals are practice of life, our way of life. They are not theories or algebras or sums or trigonometries. No. They are simple practices of life. And like I said, the table or the platform is education. If you have good education, you will be able to fulfill these goals and help. Everybody says, for our future generation. No, not for our future generation. This is for our generation. We have years to live. We don't want to build something struggling for the future. We want to build something struggling for the present. I hope that I've sent out a message today where you all will value add to the vision of the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you. Namaste.